The secret of reality is found when we turn from the superficial to the absolute, from the many to the one, from the finite to the infinite. If one affirms this or denies that, they are not free. They are not free if they apply the truth to something which is not real. The self is free as it is. When one perceives this momentous fact and identifies themselves as this self, they are free. It has long been proclaimed, change the mind, change the thought, change the belief. Alas, what has not been seen is that all such directions pertain to those who believe they have a mind of their own, separate from the divine. Regardless how many changes are made in personal minds, thoughts and beliefs, not until one identifies themselves as divine mind will their need of healing and regeneration cease. Identifying oneself as the divine, letting go of all other identification, spontaneously one comes into possession of wholeness, harmony, and blessedness, which are reality itself. We are reality. We are not ideas or expressions of it. The great mistake is to believe we can have knowledge of truth without being truth, and that we can be expressions of God, yet not be God. The fact is, whatever is included in the infinite is the infinite. Deliverance comes through spiritual revelation. It comes as though a door opened into another world, where we know spiritual things spiritually. Here, in our real being, we are the divine alone. Attempting to apply truth to discordant thoughts, things, or conditions by means of individual thinking binds one to the belief of separateness. Let one rise out of this belief, first of all. Instead of studying how to be healed, how to become wealthy and satisfied through means of achieving or overcoming, one's supreme desire should be to accept reality alone. In our real being, we are a reality which has never begun and which will never end. a reality which is unchanging. We should this very moment pierce through the veil of time and enter eternity. The depth of the eternal is in every instant of time, and we shall find it if we shall but abandon illusion and enter reality. We need not wait for some glory to come. The glory is here now, if we will but realize it. Here, in the world of the real, in a divine simplicity, we experience ourselves as that eternity, in the light of which fears and hopes are superfluous. We are freed from the entanglements of illusion with its problems, and from our vain attempt to solve them. We no longer seek immortality. We are eternal. Divine mind is independent of any personal mind, thought, or belief. Inevitably, the fact must be faced. The divine cannot be found by way of demonstration. Perfect divine mind and imperfect finite mentality can never be unified or harmonized. All efforts in this direction are in vain. In the kingdom of God, there is no room for a single finite mind, no place for one's personal effort, or even the smallest human desire. What a pity that one would remain as outside the kingdom, rather than to remember the lesson of the prodigal son, to humble himself and abandon the belief of separateness altogether. The truth says, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast them revealed unto babes. Like the learned Nicodemus, the wise and prudent are always right in their own eyes, certain about the things of this world, familiar with the latest news of the day, keeping up with the times. But what a price to pay! Continually they think and live as separate beings, outside the kingdom. Babes, like the wise virgins, are equipped with inner illumination, continually dwelling in the light of the eternal, enjoying the peace and happiness none can take away, because they are reality itself. The message of the Absolute cannot be put into a system of healing or regeneration. It prescribes no solution for working out problems in a separate human existence. The Absolute takes us into the real, where we experience living reality. Duality is not here. Cause, effect, purpose, sin, sickness, nor death. The rhythm of being is ours. We are it. Many are not experiencing life radiant and perfect because they are identifying themselves with a mind and thinking of their own, not the mind of God. Demonstration has been a great boon, but we must not stop here. We are destined to rise above demonstration altogether in order to experience revelation, the prerequisite to reality itself. There is an unfailing way, the heart, the medium of contact between ourselves and our reality. It's destined to know and comprehend spiritual things. The divine promise remains ever operative. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Those of us who dwell in reality know what freedom is. We experience peace and glory, ineffable and indescribable. Continually we find living fulfillment in the promise of the Christ. What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Freedom, wholeness, bliss are ours in the kingdom of the real, as the one alone. Take them where they are, and as the one who possesses them. Stop trying to procure them in some other world by a mental practice of your own. Fulfillment belongs to us in the kingdom of the one alone. Fulfillment of desire belongs to none in the belief of finite existence. One life, one consciousness, one kingdom is all there is. We must believe, accept, and receive it as our very own. In one way, how simple a thing to do, and in another, the most difficult of all, since it requires total surrender of personal ego. To talk about the spiritual, real self as perfect and complete, yet to identify oneself as an individual personality in a human existence, requiring regeneration continually, denotes misconception and double-mindedness. It merits the rebuke of the Master. If thine eye, perception, be dual, the whole body, the world, shall be full of darkness, ignorance. If therefore the light that is in you be darkness, how great is that darkness? The one way to know reality is to identify oneself as this reality. Heaven, reality, is not a perfect world somewhere, to be inhabited after death or in some future time. Heaven is now at hand and within us. Designating heaven to be in some place and in some time other than the immediate here and now deludes one into believing themselves to be outside of it, where one must strive, pray, and think to make themselves ready for it. Heaven is all. It is in all time. It contains a place, and it belongs to everyone. Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. When does one expect to hear these precious words? One will hear this gracious invitation when they are prepared to receive and accept it. They will hear it when they are ready to be released from the belief that they are a personality outside the kingdom or even on the threshold of it. One will hear it when they are willing to cease dependence upon personal thought and demonstration altogether and listen to the voice of God alone. Many wonder why they cannot make their demonstration, reach their goal, or find an end to the path of becoming. To reach the place where one actually lives, and to be the being one really is, one must of necessity confess the weakness and insufficiency of themselves as an individual consciousness. As finite minds and beings, none can work up to perfection. Bound in the belief of separateness, one shall be limited, imperfect, and incomplete, continually demanding equalization of rights and abundance. Let them understand this. Power, joy, and abundance belong to the One alone. To have and experience them, we must of necessity be this identical One. The perfect self, which one seeks so hard to have, is really your very own. Identified as another, you cannot reach yourself. Those who live as separate beings outside of heaven reap as they sow. Living in delusion and darkness, they have sorrow and tribulation. Those who refuse to identify themselves as the One alone, preferring to identify themselves with a mind to be educated, thoughts to be purified, and a body to be healed, shall automatically be denied the greatest possible joy, revelation. The one way to perfection, blessedness, and peace. If we deny the perfect way, it will also deny us. How shall one experience revelation, the mighty, sure deliverer? Revelation is not thought, therefore thought must be laid aside. To many this may seem an utter impossibility, enmeshed as they are in personal thinking, like spiders caught in a web. Look away from mind and thinking. Give up everything that has to do with personal edicts, ways and means. Give your allegiance to the divine, the one mind. A blessed peace will envelop you as a cloak of light. What you need to know will then be revealed. Reach towards the perfect and the eternal, with a love and devotion that are sacred and real. Confess the ways of personal mind and thought to be imperfect and incomplete. Spontaneously, you will find yourself in the straight and narrow way, experiencing the blessed promise. Then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not. Ways of mental demonstration. Keep one on a treadmill, where they labour and struggle constantly, never experiencing the light of the eternal. Once your eyes open to see this reality and perfection, to be established and unmovable, as your very life itself, you'll discover demonstration to be superfluous. Sublime faith and absolute acceptance of perfection to be ours in the here and now. Take away the sense of separateness. Vibrant or pure desire may be quite sufficient. One may be aware that it is done. Caught up in a glory which is real and actual. In oneself alone is found the secret of reality.